as officials are investigating and figuring out what is going on there. Hopefully we can get to the bottom of it, see what's going on. The worst part is we haven't even got to see exactly what's shaking out yet in the game, except for the fact that, hey, the lane swap is on the menu, and that's how we're starting the series off.
And I mean, mostly when we've seen these lane swaps at Worlds, it's just to get a little bit of experience, get towards level 3, and then they just swap right back, and they play standard lanes after that if you think you have a really poor level 1 or some sort of problem from there. So that's kind of the expectation, I think, here from aiming.
Yeah, and I mean, we've seen, I would say, in my opinion, that the current iteration of lane swap is the easiest compared to many of the other versions that we've seen in the past, mainly just because you run a duo lane mid, you run a duo lane top, you get enough XP that you're level 2, and then everyone heads towards one side of the map.
The sweeper is
turned
gone.
off.
Yeah.
It's done.
Praise to the production team.
Thank you, production. We appreciate that.
We are saved.
The longest duration sweeper of all time in League of Legends.
It reminds me of the Corky E-bug.
Oh, God,
In a pause,
yeah.
sometimes you get it, but then you come out of the pause.
And it's still going.
And it's still going.
Yeah, you just hear the Gatling gun for the next 40 minutes.
Yes.
Do you guys remember back a few years ago when Amumu's taunt or laugh or something was global for a couple of patches?
I do remember
so
that.
Even solo queue players, it wasn't just competitive pauses, it was everyone was just subject to an Amumu player's whims.
And Nunu used to be like that as well. And you could do the Robo Nunu or whatever and spam the laugh. And you could just hear it the entire game. Because you can't actually mute in-game. You can't mute the actual emote sounds.
No.
So it was an experience playing League of Legends back in those patches.
Darker times in League of Legends, but it sounds like we'll hopefully be hopping back into the game here real soon. And then we can get this game 1 underway, Top versus DK. You guys already talked about it a little bit, but DK coming into the 2-0 spot in the bracket. They started off with what I think a lot of fans, a lot of viewers would consider like the ideal draw, right? You get Fnatic into FlyQuest. A lot of teams are going to look at that and say, hey, this is a great matchup. We're feeling good, 2-0. Then you go into the best of 3 against LNG to get that coveted 3-0 spot straight into the quarterfinals, straight to Paris. And it all kind of fell apart. Isaac, I know you were very unhappy with the one draft, but honestly, it just felt like DK got outplayed a lot there. So they got to be looking to redeem themselves in that performance here a little bit today.
Yeah, one of the interesting things was, it was that Game 2 draft that you're referencing, where they were basically playing full AP into a team that could stack a ton of MR, including having a Galio on the team. I actually thought that was the best as far as gameplay that DK played in the entire tournament. Even though they did lose, they actually ended up making it a rather competitive game, which was pretty surprising to me because of the massive draft disadvantages. But that's kind of just the team that this team is. Like, they can be really, really good. When they're on, they are crushing it. Mechanically, they're very, very talented, but you just don't know what you're going to get from them. Even when you look towards their game against FlyQuest, they created this large early advantage and then gave some really big opportunities for FlyQuest to actually pull that game back and put themselves in a lead where, had FlyQuest played it better, maybe they could have even cleaned that up. So, DK is definitely a bit of a hit or miss team.